Freedom is inherent to being human. We have a natural drive to travel, explore, and experience the new. However, when laws are broken, the government steps in to strip a wrongdoer of that freedom to protect law-abiding citizens, a reality that many prisoners simply refuse to accept. These are the 7 levels of prison breaks.
John Dillinger, the wooden pistol, March 1934, Crown Point Jail, Indiana. The sheriff personally told reporters, "We aren't expecting any trouble from this prisoner." That prisoner was John Dillinger, the #1 bank robber in America and the FBI's public enemy #1. Dillinger found a scrap of wood, carved it into the shape of a pistol, and painted it with black shoe polish. He walked right up to the guards with it. The guards backed down. Dillinger grabbed a few real machine guns from the armory, took a jailer hostage, hopped into the sheriff's own car, and drove off. He crossed the state line, which automatically made him a federal fugitive, and that was that. They caught up with him a few months later and shot him dead outside a movie theater in Chicago. But that moment, a guy with a piece of wood walking out of an impregnable prison went down in history because it proved one simple thing: the most vulnerable spot in any security system is the person who believes in it. Michelle Vaujour, the wife with a helicopter and nectarine grenades. Paris, 1986. Michel Vaujour is behind bars for attempted murder and armed robbery. His wife, Nadine, decides to get her husband out, literally. Nadine signs up for flight school. For 6 months, she learns how to fly, specifically for the escape. This isn't a metaphor or a figure of speech. This woman earned a pilot's license for a single mission. On his end, Vaujour takes a few nectarines from the prison rations, paints them to look like grenades, and walks onto the prison roof holding his weapons out in front of the guards. Nobody fires a shot. Nadine lands on the roof, Michelle hops in, they fly off to a soccer field and switch to a getaway car. This was Vaujour's 4th escape attempt. The first 3 had failed. This one worked. Both were caught a few months later. Nadine served time. Michelle got another sentence. In 2018, he released an autobiography titled "Love Saved Me from Falling." It's the literal truth. What saved him was the fact that his wife learned how to fly. Pascal Payette. 3 helicopters, 3 times. If Nadine Vaujour did it once, Pascal Payette made it a routine. Payette, a French career criminal, was serving a 30-year sentence for an armed robbery on an armored truck that left a guard dead. 2001, the first escape. Accomplices hijack a helicopter, fly into Loons prison in southern France. Payette hops on board and flies away. He was caught. They threw him back in. 2003, Payette organizes an escape for 3 other inmates from that very same prison, again using a helicopter, just to keep things interesting. They caught them, and they caught him too. July 14th, 2007, Bastille Day. 4 accomplices hijack a helicopter in Cannes and order the pilot to fly to Grasse prison in the north. They land on the roof, storm inside with pistols and sawed-off shotguns, grab Payette, and take off. The whole thing takes less than 5 minutes. Escaping on the country's national holiday, the day the French celebrate the storming of a prison, is either pure irony or a deliberate message. He was caught in Spain 3 months later, but Payette's record, 3 helicopter escapes, remains unbeaten to this day. El Chapo, the $50 million tunnel. Most people don't have $50 million to their name. El Chapo spent exactly that much just to walk away from Mexico's most secure prison, Altiplano. July 2015, Joaquin Guzman has been in his cell for less than 16 months. Meanwhile, a massive construction project is happening right under the prison. A mile-long tunnel, complete with ventilation, lighting, and a motorcycle on rails. They built it in record time. Normally, a project that size would take 1.5 to 2 years. On July 11, Guzman goes into the shower, ducks into a hole in the floor, and vanishes. He hops on the motorcycle, rides through the tunnel, and emerges in an unfinished house. They're waiting for him. A helicopter. Freedom! The president of Mexico had publicly promised that Guzman would spend 300 or 400 years in prison and would never be extradited to the U.S. A few months after the escape, once he was caught again and finally extradited, Guzman ended up in the American Supermax prison ADX Florence for life. The irony? If he hadn't escaped, he might have stayed in Mexico. The IRA, 38 men and a meat truck. September 25th, 1983. Maze Prison, Northern Ireland, the most secure detention center in Europe. This is where members of the IRA are held. We're talking perimeters, watchtowers, armed guards, and constant searches. And yet, 38 inmates at once. It remains the largest prison break in British and Irish history to this day. How? Months of preparation from the inside. The prisoners secretly assembled 6 pistols, smuggled in piece by piece. On the appointed date, they seized an entire prison block, took guards hostage, and put on their uniforms. Outside, a food delivery truck pulled up to the gates, but instead of meat, accomplices were hiding inside. 38 men walked out. 19 were eventually caught. 1 guard died of a heart attack during the takeover. The other 19 vanished. Some fled to the Republic of Ireland, others went abroad. This wasn't just a getaway, it was a military operation pulled off by people with no access to the internet, no phones, and zero outside resources. Just brains, time, and patience.
Alfred Wetzler, The Auschwitz Escape with a Report for the World. At this level, an escape isn't about personal freedom. It's about something much more important. April 1944, Auschwitz concentration camp. Alfred Wetzler, a Slovakian Jew and prisoner, realizes one thing. The world has no idea what's actually happening here. The Allies either don't believe the rumors or don't want to. Wetzler and his comrade, Rudolf Verba, hide inside a hollowed-out woodpile. Other inmates had soaked the surrounding timber with tobacco and gasoline to throw off the scent of the search dogs. They lie there for 4 days while the Nazis scour every inch of the camp looking for them. Once the search is called off, they walk 80 miles to the Slovakian border in stolen suits. But the most critical part wasn't the escape itself. Wetzler was carrying a detailed report, a floor plan of the camp, descriptions of the gas chambers, and even a label from a canister of Zyklon B. It was the first credible, first-hand account of Auschwitz that the Allies finally took seriously. That report changed the course of the war. It directly influenced the decision to bomb the supply lines leading to the camp. Most people on this list escaped for themselves. Wetzler escaped for millions of others. It is the only escape in history where the getaway was worth more than the life of the prisoner himself.
Frank Morris and the Anglin brothers. Alcatraz still missing. Alcatraz, an island in the middle of San Francisco Bay, freezing water, currents that sweep everything out to sea. From 1934 to 1963, there wasn't a single confirmed successful escape. This was the place they sent prisoners specifically because they had escaped from everywhere else. Frank Morris, IQ 133, a criminal record starting at age 13. Alcatraz took him in 1960 as incorrigible. For 6 months, he and brothers John and Clarence Anglin chipped away at the concrete walls using spoons from the mess hall and a drill made from a vacuum cleaner motor. Morris masked the sound of the drilling by playing his accordion during music hour. While they worked, they filled the holes with fake grates made of paper mache. On the night of June 11, 1962, the three of them climbed through a ventilation duct to the roof. They left dummy heads in their beds, complete with real hair collected from the prison barber shop. They climbed down the pipes to the water and set off on a raft made from 50 raincoats. And they vanished. The FBI closed the case in 1979, concluding they likely drowned. However, the U.S. Marshal Service keeps the case open to this day and will until September 2026. In 2013, a letter arrived at a police station. My name is John Anglin. I am 83 years old. I have cancer. All three of us made it that night. Barely, but we made it. The handwriting analysis was inconclusive. The case remains open. There is no answer. This is the only escape in history that officially ended neither with a capture nor a confirmed death. 3 men simply stepped into the water and were never seen again.